don't really care a whole lot. And so at the end of the day, it never really bothered me, and people thought it was funny. And so, I had like these a snack box, and there were like maggots in the snack box, and then I would eat the food with the maggots inside of the food. It was like honey buns, which were really, really good. And to be honest, I didn't even really taste them.
What? All right, chat. Well, with that out of the way, we're going to talk a little bit about Asmongold. Now, Asmongold, obviously, we all know him. We know who he is. He's got one of the biggest, I'd say, streaming empires in the world. I believe he has ads off and maybe even donations off on Twitch, so he doesn't make money that way, as far as I know. But he's got a huge, huge YouTube channel that gets crazy views, and they're all reactions, I mean, this guy is Tom Dark Live before Tom Dark Live. I mean, every single day, prior to 2 days ago, obviously. Posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos in a day, all reaction videos. And, well, this video is him playing it, I think, playing a game. But most of them are reaction videos, and they got crazy views. They got insane views. Some of these videos have an unreal amount of, like, this has like 1 million views, right? This has 1 million views. He's huge. Well, obviously, he had that kind of saucy comment recently, and he's now taking a break. He said he thinks he's become too terminally online. But I thought it would be good to, go a little bit through Asmongold's lore today, a little bit, and try to understand him a little bit more, I'll make a statement here. I kind of like Asmongold, There's stuff I don't like about him, like I called him out for the coverage of the Fruit, F-R-O-O-T, VTuber situation. He's not always the best, but generally when I watch his reactions, they are pretty good on average, If my first exposure to him was that, I think I would hate him a lot more. And I don't watch his like coverage of like gaming DEI controversies because I just don't give a. But a lot of his takes that I've seen are relatively even keeled, relatively fine. Not crazy stuff. But Asmongold is notorious for living like an animal, and he talked about this a little bit in his recent video. But I think there's a little bit more to this that we need to get into. For example, the roach incident.
Oh. There's a roach flying at me. Give me a minute.
Where'd he go?
Oh! He's on my belly. Look at him. He's right there. He go.
His house is so filthy. There's a cockroach on him. Okay? I know it's been said to death, but like it's not like an interesting take at this point. But the guy makes like $20 million a year or something stupid like that. Maybe that's exaggeration. Maybe more like, I don't know, 6, 7. But he makes a lot of money. He's got a roach on him in his house. Now, that in and of itself is bad enough, but that's not even close to the worst thing in Asmongold's house, okay? That's not even close. There was a small roach. He's way too calm. Well, this probably happens all the time. If I saw a cockroach in real life, whether it was on me or not, I would have a mental breakdown, okay? I wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm like a woman when it comes to bugs, okay? When I see a bug, I'm like, someone deal with it. But Asmongold also is notorious for the blood wall, okay? Here we have a picture of his room. This is where he sleeps, and there seems to be some red substance there in his disgusting pigsty. And people ask what it is, and he weighed in a little bit here. He gave some elaboration, okay? There's one on the wall behind you. Off, bro. That's not funny. That's not cool. I don't like that, okay? Anytime I see a spider, I instantly vacuum it. But he weighed in a little here on why this is. He said, it's dried blood for when my teeth would bleed overnight. I'd just wipe it on the wall when I woke up so I didn't have to get out of bed. Which is just like a blood wall. He had a blood wall. He would just wake up in the middle of the night, take the blood on his teeth, wipe it on the wall, and fall back asleep. That's insanity. This man's room is a biohazard. And I think this is the same room that he streams in too. I think this is the same room he does all his content, which is just nuts. And then his setup as well, something people have reacted to many times because it's so foul. I mean, look at this. Boxes of trash, Dorito stack, old ass rinky-dink chair, which it does look somewhat comfortable, I will say, with some random pillow on it. Trash all over the floor. A collection of cups, the likes of which I have never seen. 2 monitors, which they look fine, but with the money he has, I feel like he should just be getting a better setup. He's got so much money, he doesn't have to live here. He can move out and bulldoze the house pretty easily, and he refuses to.
What is up with the cup collection? Look at the amount of sauce he has here from like Chick-fil-A or whatever that is.
What are you talking? That's obviously
This is how my
Wendy's
mom
chili.
I bet that's the room right now.
He just left chili. He left like half-eaten chili in his room. And his room is like this for weeks and months. He just does not clean it, okay? Like, this is known Asmongold lore. And honestly, I kind of like him for it. I kind of like that he's so unabashed about it. I kind of like that he lives in filth and is self-aware about it and just lives goblin mode. I kind of like it. There's something about it. I find it very fun. You know, like I view Twitch streamers in general as like characters in a TV show, you know. I view them very much as like they're not real people. They're just characters I see online, which I feel like makes me less parasocial about them because I just, you know, it's like I feel like Twitch is watching like The Office or something. You got all these different characters who are more and less detestable. They have weird mannerisms and habits. Like every streamer has some weird shit that they do. All of them, myself included. All of them have some weird antisocial behavior that they engage in, you know? And that's definitely what Asmon has here. This is extremely antisocial behavior. Well, a little while ago, people were asking a lot of questions about Asmongold, and he ended up making a video. And this video is titled, "I've been living like an animal for 13 years. Here's why." And I thought this would be an interesting video to kind of delve into why he's like this. Hearing that Asmongold almost ended his life but didn't because of a WoW expansion is the saddest yet funniest explanation for why he didn't go through with it. So apparently he says that here. I'm very curious to see what he has to say and what his explanations are for why he's like this. Because, you know, I can only aspire to be at this level. You know, I myself am a degenerate, but this is just, you know, I'm in the goon cave right now. You can see. Make no mistake, this is a goon cave. I've got some weird shit in here, all right? I do. Rick Mask. Nugget. Skib. I've got a lot of stuff, okay? I've been collecting strange oddities. I regard these as artifacts, okay? But I can only aspire to be at the level that Asmongold is at. So I feel like we're going to do a little learning today. We're going to do a little learning about what's going on with him and why he's like this.
Hey guys, it's me. And today I want to answer a question that a lot of people have been asking me my whole life, and more importantly, they've been asking me a lot recently, especially online. And that question comes in many forms, but it all is distilled down to the same thing, which is, in one form or another, why are you like this? Whether it's the dead rat alarm clock, the barbecue puke shower curtain, dead animals in the house, or any other one of the stories that are...
How are we feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Hope you're doing well as well.
Are just an indicator of me living like a complete fucking animal. People always wonder, why would a person live like this? Why would a person be like this? Why am I like this? And I think that honestly, you know, there's a lot of answers for this. I really don't want to make this like a super long video.
40 minutes, by the way. 35-minute explanation of his life story of why he's like this. I guess that's about as succinct as it could be. I guess there probably is, you know, no simple explanation for living in a room like this. What's the worst room setup you've ever seen? It's easily Asmongold's.
So hopefully I can distill it down to some main points and not really go off on too many tangents, although I think that I probably will, because there's a lot of like history with it and everything like that. And so basically the first thing you need to know about me is that I actually, if you can believe this, I know this might sound shocking, is that I actually have not always been like this. This is a relatively new thing for me. And I think that it really kind of started a lot when I would say in high school, and then...
What does he mean relatively new thing? Hasn't his room been like this for a long time? Hasn't he been living in filth for a very long time? I don't think it's like a last 2 years thing. I thought this was part of his lore like forever.
Now listen.
It actually, even 4 years ago, it doesn't look nearly that bad. It looks more organized in the background. It looks a little cleaner. It doesn't look that bad. There is some drink cups. Maybe it's hard to tell from this angle, but maybe it wasn't nearly as bad 4 years ago. Maybe it is a relatively new thing. He said he started in high school. He's like 30. Well, he said the lore goes back to high school. I don't know if the degenerate room lore goes back to high school. West Coombe Cave Series type beat. Hit the gritty while poop maxing? I'll do that for sure. Thanks for the dono, Emma.
Later on, it kind of entered phase 2, and that was probably somewhere around 21 or 23, somewhere around there in those age groups. And that's whenever, you know, the degeneracy really kind of went, you know, it ratcheted up to the next level.
So it's not a recent thing. It has been. He's 35, right? So it has been like 15 years of his life. It's like half his life he's been like this, basically. It's not that recent of a thing. Maybe it's recent in his mind because he remembers his life better before streaming because it wasn't being on the computer all day, but it's not a recent thing.
I leveled up, new expansion release, DLC, etc., right? And so this happened then because as a kid, I was actually very much like a very conscientious kid.
His room looks like that Roblox streamer from a while back. Are you talking about Pow Envy? Yeah, he's my friend. I did a video with him on Tom IRL. His room at his parents' house was actually very disgusting. Let's check out this video.
Bit of cheese to top it off.
Uh-oh. Let's see his room. When did we visit his original bedroom? Because we did at one point. We went to check it out. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is us, I think, going to the room itself. This room was not quite as bad as Asmon's, but it was pretty foul. If Asmon asked you, would you help him clean up his room? Yeah, why not? I'm a good guy.
Holy How old were you there, like 10?
Yeah, it was 6th grade, something like that. You can tell they were giving me a lot of Adderall. Does it smell? I don't smell anything.
It doesn't smell that bad. I did
smell.
notice the stains immediately.
I don't even know how that happened with the cup. I swear that wasn't me. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. I never throw stuff away. I like to have like relics. Like this thing, they made this in like 2016. They're like super rare now. This was the old rat cage right here.
Oh yeah, what happened to all the rats?
Like, this room was fucked, and it did smell, make no mistake. It was foul.
2 rats, and I gave them to some dude who was like a good owner. Yeah, there's all rat poop in there still, actually. It's kind of cool.
I see.
It's good for them. People in my TikTok comments were like, you're not supposed to use that stuff. And I was like, yeah, you are. That might be like bug poop, like actually.
This is foul. The stink lines, that's not editing. That's real. That's very real, okay? It's just, you know, when you get to a certain level, of degeneracy, the stink lines are actually green and visible and look as if it's a video editing effect.
Yeah, it looks like there's bugs that are flying out of there. There might be a little bit of an infestation.
Wait, you guys want to open it? Let's see. I wonder if anything's in here. Oh, there's a lot of gnats in there.
Keep in mind, his family like lived there. His mom like lived there, and they just left the trash and the relics in there, the artifacts.
I gotta get a video of that. That's cool.
That is disgusting. So yes, was it as bad as Asmongold's? Probably not, but it probably easily could have been if Pow Envy was allowed to live there longer. Not that he was ever kicked out, I don't think, but if he was still there, there's no doubt in my mind that it would have gotten even worse, honestly, with just a little bit of time.
In the way that I basically didn't really want to be perceived in a negative way. I wanted to be seen as a good person, etc. And I've always had a big problem with being able to like relate to other people because I think that I'm just a little bit off, right? I wouldn't say that I don't have a moral compass, but I would say that my moral compass doesn't point north. And this has been a problem in a lot of cases in my life.
His moral compass doesn't point north. What is that? Is he like a sociopath? What's wrong with him? What is wrong with this guy? His moral compass doesn't point north. I wonder how that translates into his content. Are there takes that I haven't seen from him that would enlighten me to that? Yeah, I've seen the house tour for the Steak and Eggs podcast. It was pretty bad, bro. It was pretty gross.
Life, whether it's with relationships or friendships or anything in between, I've had a lot of problems because of that. And in the process of this, I've learned a lot of things about myself. And the main thing is that my take and my view on moral issues is not really what I would say a normal person thinks. And this has caused me a lot of problems. And especially like as a young kid.
Is this like the dog take where he was like, I can't believe that people are upset about animals getting hurt? I think I've seen, there's like some crazy Asmongold animal cruelty take. Does anyone know what I'm talking about here? I don't know if I can even find this anymore. Maybe it was deleted or something. I know this exists somewhere. See his Palestine take? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did see that.
You know, being able to like interact and fit in with people, it's a weird dichotomy because the truth is I actually always did have a lot of friends and I never had problems making friends. But at the same time, I always felt like I was very different from a lot of other people because
he was 100% a better than you were atheist Redditor. I mean, I think he still is to this day. I mean, he basically admitted like, the thing is like, I agree like religious extremism when it translates into like harm for people is bad, obviously. But like religion in general isn't necessarily bad. But he does seem like a very anti-religion guy, and he explained that it was because of his Catholic upbringing. He grew to hate it very much, which is a take I've seen from like a lot of millennial people, you know. In general, they develop kind of a hatred for religion and the church and stuff like that. Which I mean, obviously, you know, there's a lot of terrible things that have happened in the name of religion, but it's not the fault of the belief system. It's because of the people involved, right? The beliefs themselves generally are not inherently harmful. If you pray to God or Allah or Yahweh or whatever the fuck, right? Like, you're not generally just intrinsically a violent person. And the evidence of that is because there's millions of Americans that, tens of millions, hundreds of millions even, that, you know, are religious and they are not violent people.
This is the way that I felt. I used to have, for a comparison, just a point of reference, I guess you could say, I used to have my mom read me all of the different like sins in the Bible and everything because I understood even as a little kid. I'm like, there's something wrong with you. You know, like you better learn this so that way there aren't any problems in the future.
What? He needed his mom to teach him the sins in the Bible to learn morality? I mean, I'm not saying that kids have like intrinsic morality. I think with time, people do develop more empathy. Like, I feel like I definitely was much more sociopathic and unempathetic when I was 14 versus how I am now, because I was just, you know, a younger person with less experience. You know, it was very easy to just write off people's problems and issues from the comfort of my bedroom. You know, I didn't experience any of them. But at the same time, like, you to the point you had to have your mom read the commandments to you. That is crazy. That is crazy.
And so I would have her read all of these to me. That way I would understand how to behave, right? Because it just never came naturally to me. Things that come naturally to other people were not natural and are not natural. It's not like things have changed. If anything, they've probably gotten worse as I've gotten older. And so I've always had a big problem being able to, like, understand, like, where, how you should act, how you should treat people, what you should do, how you should say things, etc. So almost everything that I do is a learned performance rather than an innate social, instinct, if that makes sense.
Is this guy a psychopath? Is that what he's describing? When I've read about psychopaths, I read about how they, like, have to learn to be a human being and act normal, but they don't have any, like, intrinsic normal qualities. They just mimic what other people around them do to adapt and become a normal person. Is he describing his own psychopathy? Like, what is this? I'm not diagnosing him right now, to be clear. I'm just very perplexed by this take. I'm very, very, very perplexed by this take, dude.
Makes sense. And hopefully the performance is good. I consider myself kind of a good actor, at least, right? But of course there are going to be cracks and outtakes as well. And so those are usually in the form of the Twitter clips with 100,000 likes. And so anyway, as a kid, I was always treated this way. And, people thought that I was a little bit off, a little bit weird. Like one time, like, for example, there was a kid that I was, like, playing with baseball with him. And he was annoying me, making me mad. And so I hit the ball, and I hit it with the explicit intention of hitting him in the face with the ball. And I did. And so I remember...
Look at his face when he said that.
Intention of hitting him in the face with the ball. And I did.
Look at his face. Asmongold's face when he hits a child. Well, he was a child at the same time. Asmongold's face when he's 6 years old and he hits another 6-year-old in the face with a baseball. This guy he's built different, undoubtedly. He's definitely built in a very different way. Okay. That's normal kid shit. I mean, yeah, like, being like a shithead when you're a kid is, like, relatively normal. I'm not saying that's proof that there's something necessarily wrong with him, but like psychologically, but combined with everything, it just makes me question, like, what his deal is, because he's definitely not a normal dude.
And so I remember there's blood all over the kid's face. He, like, broke his tooth and everything, and everybody was standing around like what the fuck, like, what? This is, like, terrible. And I remember walking up. This was like the best day of my fucking life. This happened, and I was so happy, and I could see that other people were made very uncomfortable around.
Oh my God. You don't even feel bad. I don't know. I mean, he was a kid, so I want to forgive him a little bit. I mean, not that it's my place to hold him accountable for hitting a kid in the face with a baseball when he was like 10 years old, but that's so interesting. He's bricked up talking about it. Yeah, a little bit. It's definitely Asperger's. I mean, we don't know. We don't know him. You're not a therapist, psychologist, whatever kind of official would diagnose him, but it is interesting.
On this, and that's whenever I started trying to, like, really kind of mask my emotions and how I felt about things, because it was very evident to me that I was not really normal. And this has been again a huge problem my whole life, but that was pretty much the first, at least the time that
Bro got the eyes that say, I used to light animals on fire for fun as a kid.
I can remember in my mind the first time that I can remember that and see that, wow, this didn't go over the way that I thought it would go over, because I was so happy and nobody else is happy and they think I'm, like, a bad person. But it's like, from my perspective, that's not how I saw it. And, from my perspective, rip bozo. So this is a big problem, and this happens in...
As a kid, he had, like, you get what you freaking deserve! He was the Joker from birth, dude. He was unempathetic. He was seriously on a different arc than all of us, okay? His villain arc started as a kid, yeah. The thing is, I do like Asmongold. I find him interesting. But this is, like, A really interesting lore drop that he wasn't born without innate morality. He had to learn emotions. He doesn't feel bad for people. That is really interesting.
Middle school as well, I cared a lot about like how I looked, how I dressed.
It's almost called being based. My bad, bro.
Etc. in middle school. I mean, really, who doesn't? And you know, I really tried to you know, like take myself seriously, and you know, I tried.
He looks like Cyrax. I mean, he looks like Cyrax if he looks maxed for sure.
To have a good impression, etc. Do the right things, say the right things, wear the right things, be the right kind of person. And going into high school, I kind of got there was a weird thing where like I ended up going to like one high school that I didn't want to go to, and then I ended up going to another high school after that. After I told my parents that if they didn't change me over, I would kill myself and fail every single class. Which, to be halfway, I was halfway followed through with that, because my first semester in that high school, I had a GPA of a .08. It was actually
.08 in freshman year? Was he just not showing up to school? How do you get a GPA that low? .08? I thought the lowest your GPA could be was like 2.5 or something. I didn't think you could get that low. How do you have a .8 GPA? Was he hitting blinkers in the bathroom during every single class? .8? Mine was .3. How do you have a .3 GPA? Freshman year is so easy. Freshman year is a joke. How do you have a .8 freshman year? Freshman year is a fucking meme. High school in general is a fucking meme. I failed a class in high school. I think I failed AP Bio. But I think my lowest GPA ever was like 3.5 or something. I guess his mom just wasn't cracking the books on him, making him do anything. That is crazy.
Impressive. It was
.8.
hard to do. I had to go out of my way for this. And so then I ended up getting transferred over, and I went to the school where my friends were. And I think that like the high school that I had originally gone to was a much more superficial, much more like, you know, like a higher class high school, because my dad wanted.
He looks like he chases women in parking garages at night for fun. Honestly, he doesn't look like that to me. As funny as that is, he doesn't look like that to me. He doesn't come across to me as particularly interested in women in general. I feel like he's just like, I don't care. I don't give a freak.
To go there because, you know, like he wanted me to go to school to get an education. Imagine that. I wanted to go to school to hang out with my friends. So there was a bit of a disconnect there. And so I go over to the other school, and I realized that I need to stop caring about what people think about me, because I saw the people that were in that other school, and I realized that's not the kind of person that I wanted to be, because they were the more extreme version of the person that I was trying to be. And at that point, I realized that I didn't really want to be like other people, and I had to develop, I guess, my own identity. And this was at like, I would say 14 or 15. And that happened, and that continued all the way through high school. And, you know, I was always like, you know, I never really had a girlfriend, right, in high school or anything like that. Maybe, you know, I talked to a girl, but not really, okay? And so I was never...
Pine Tree says, you need a real form of social interaction to develop correctly, period. Similar to failure to thrive, he's doing it right now. He said signs of needing help even as a child, but was ignored. Bros like this for life. I mean, you know, I think a lot of the stuff that happens in your childhood does contribute to your development. So if you don't have normal socialization as a child, you might be fucked forever. But at the same time, I've met people who were homeschooled even and didn't have normal social experiences, or even like any friends really, until they were like 18, 19, 20, and they are normal people now. Like, they function normally, you know? I have met people who were homeschooled, didn't have any real friends, lived in the middle of nowhere, had no social interaction. They did turn out to be normal people once they met real people. But there definitely was like an adjustment period, you know? I don't think that, like, you know, unfortunate circumstances happening in your childhood are necessarily a death sentence for you as an adult. But I will say a lot of the time when I have met fucked up people in real life who behave a certain way, and I question why they're like that, it does lead directly back to their childhood and their, you know, the habits their parents had, lack of good habits. Where are his scabs and DS stylists? Great question, DJ.
Really treated very well by, you know, a lot of girls or anything like that. And big surprise, imagine that. And so anyway, this happened, and, you know, I kind of got used to this, and it was normal. So I would try to improve myself and, you know, like make myself look better and try to do this, and it would just be met with the same outcome, which was a massive failure. Big surprise. You know, being a level 60 warrior isn't as attractive to women as it is to other 16-year-old guys.
True.
And so anyway, I had this happen, and, you know, I eventually kind of got to the point where I was more comfortable with that, and I stopped really caring as much about what, you know, like people would think about me, and, you know, in general, just like people's perception of me.
Nero Raven says, I didn't meet real black people until I joined the army. Only whitewashed ones before that. Real black people? Real black people? I mean, I know what you're saying. Is what you mean, like, you didn't mean, you didn't mean like black people that speak in Ebonics until you join the Army. In fairness, I grew up in a very white area, so the only black people I met were quote-unquote whitewashed black people, I guess, if that's the terminology you want to use, before I went to college. And then when I was in college, I met what you're saying are real black people. I convinced Just to Make some Meowdalin to sing Gida Gidi Gida Gida Oh at your funeral, Tom. Thank you very much, Ash. That's beautiful.
And this kind of got worse as time goes on. And I think that I spent like my teenage years primarily trying to disconnect myself and trying to remove myself from the obligation to be a certain kind of person to the public and just to society in general. I viewed society as I never chose to be here. This was not up for discussion. I just spawned in here, and so it's like I have to follow these rules. I have to do all of these things. I have to be this kind of a person. And then, when I was like 17, 18, 19, I asked myself, well, why am I doing this? And so I stopped doing all of that stuff, and I've done many degenerate things, none of which I regret. Nothing at all in my life that I've ever regretted.
I mean, if I had to guess, essentially what happened to him is like, he was born kind of strange. He didn't have normal social interaction. He tried to cope and fake it, didn't work out. And then he just did streaming, and he didn't have to become a normal person because he could just sit in his room all day and get rewarded for that, right? So being terminally online and his antisocial behavior was directly rewarded by the streaming.
At all. But I would do things that a lot of people would consider to be very improper. Let's just say that. And so I never really viewed myself, I never really viewed it as like a good or a bad thing. I just, simply existed and I did what I would do. And that was it. And at that point, I pretty much had completely disconnected myself from the perception of other people. And this was at the same time, like growing up, my mom was, I think there was maybe 2 years or so where she made above the poverty level in terms of income. And so we basically barely skated by most of the time. And primarily the reason for that, honestly, is because my dad always paid child support, etc., at least until I was 18. And, all that time, she was able to skate by with that and pretty much survive. After high school was over, then obviously like that stopped, and then she wasn't able to support herself, so I was having to figure out ways to make money and try to like piece together money. She would borrow money sometimes from my dad, and it was in general like a very, very negative situation, and so we never really had any money. This was the time where I was pretty much ironically at the peak of my degeneracy. I was probably one of the highest rated warriors in WoW at the time.
Ironically, I don't think that's ironic. I think that makes perfect sense. I think it makes perfect sense that if you're like the highest rank in some fantasy video game about killing orcs or whatever, I don't play World of Warcraft, so I wouldn't even know. But I would guess that on average, the people that are highest ranked in any video game are probably not the most normal people in the world because they're spending all of their life in a bedroom gaming, And if that's, if that's the sacrifice you want to make to become the greatest level 60 warrior in a video game, I guess that makes sense. But, it's not really surprising that he had this basement dweller lifestyle. In this case, he's an attic dweller. You can tell this is the attic of his house.
It was great, but not necessarily in real life. And
if it makes him happy, who cares? I mean, you don't have to care. It clearly doesn't make him happy. He recently talked about how he realized his life was so fucked up that it doesn't make him happy, so I don't think it does. But it's more just funny to watch. I don't have emotional investment in Asmongold and his story, but it is interesting to learn about a person like this. This is kind of a pathetic video. Sounds like one big pity party. I'm a bad person. I'm a degenerate. Please leave. Please give me support. It doesn't sound like that. It doesn't sound like a pity party at all. To be honest, it sounds like he's just very generally explaining his lifestyle and why he is the way he is. It doesn't sound to me like he's begging for sympathy or anything, If he was like crying during it, I guess that would make sense, but he doesn't come across to me as somebody who's like demanding of sympathy. In his recent apology, I mean, he didn't ask for sympathy from anyone, He doesn't come across like that kind of person to me.
And so at this point, I'd pretty much completely disconnected myself from the way that people saw me. And I stopped caring about the way that people saw me because I pretty much gave up on being like a normal person. I gave up on being accepted by the public. I gave up on living a normal life or, having a family or anything like that. I just felt like I just was not capable of that based off of my experiences that I had. And I had many other ones too. Like I stabbed somebody and a few other things too. I probably wouldn't even say.
What? We're just going to brush by that? I stabbed somebody and a few other... What are the other things? He stabbed somebody? Wait, what? Run it back.
I just was not capable of that based off of my experiences that I had. And I had many other ones too. Like I stabbed somebody and a few other things too. I probably wouldn't even say because they would too drastically alter people's perception of me.
I think you already altered that perception. He stabbed someone? When? Why? Who did he stab? Who out there got stabbed by the streamer Asmongold? He stabbed somebody? He stabbed someone with a fork? Why? And what is worse than that? So he's willing to admit to the stabbing, but he doesn't admit to something past that? What is worse than that? He'll say the stabbing. What wouldn't he say? What the fuck did he do? There might be something very seriously wrong with Asmongold, to be honest with you. It was kind of a joke before, but what? He stabbed someone? What? Who got stabbed by Asmongold?
But either way, a lot of these instances where I kind of was like, okay, this is bad. Maybe it's better that I'm, quarantined in my house. And
yeah, it sounds like this guy actually might be a danger to society if he stabs someone. So when he's 6, he's hitting kids in the face with baseballs. A little later, as an adult, he stabbed someone and other stuff he won't talk. What? He has simian inclinations? It seems that way. Why did he stab someone? I'm sorry. I don't mean to belabor the point here, but what the fuck?
And so anyway, I did this a lot, and my mom
I did this a lot.
and I, it was really just kind of the two of us. My dad was there. He was supportive, and he always has been supportive. But other than that, I do have family, but none of them live in the state of Texas. And so any trouble, any problems, anything like that, it was pretty much entirely on me to resolve this issue. And so take care of my mom, pay for things, anything like that, it was always on me. And her health started deteriorating at about the same time. This is big surprise. You smoke since you're 16. You spend your entire time smoking cigarettes, watching Ancient Aliens, and fucking around on the internet playing WoW, and you're overweight massively like she was. This isn't good for your health, especially when...
His mom was playing WoW? Did he say his mom plays World of Warcraft?
Surprise. You smoke since you're 16. You spend your entire time smoking cigarettes, watching Ancient Aliens, and fucking around on the internet playing WoW, and you're...
His mom played WoW? That's kind of based. His mom played World of Warcraft? My mom didn't play World of Warcraft. My mom doesn't even know what YouTube is, truly. She doesn't really understand what I do for a job. His mom played WoW? She was helping him grind? What is up with this guy's life, dude? He lives in a pigsty. He has no empathy. He had to learn it. He stabbed someone, and his mom plays World of Warcraft? What does that even mean?
You're overweight massively like she was. This isn't good for your health, especially when you're getting into your 60s, which...
No wonder this happened.
She was at that time, because she had me when she was 39 and a half or 40 or something. And so at this point, her health was deteriorating, and I remember she had a number of instances where I would wake up and I hear her screaming because she would I don't even really know what the fuck was wrong with her. I don't know. It was
His mom would wake up screaming in the middle of the night. This guy is going to turn into Plankton, okay? This guy's going to turn into Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He is literally this is his villain origin story. We're actually listening to it right now. We're listening to whatever is wrong with him, right? We're finding out the reason why he is the way he is.
A weird thing where she couldn't see out of her eye, and then she had some kind of I think a bleed in her eye, and then she...
Wait, so this is making me question if the apology was genuine at all. Because he said most of his empathy and emotions were learned. He had to learn how to act normal. Does he have empathy? Does he feel bad for anything? I don't understand him. I want to understand him. This guy needs to be psychoanalyzed in a lab by Sigmund Freud.
He had I think it wasn't really a heart attack. There was some sort of variation of that. And I remember her begging me not to call the ambulance. And this is just and this is at the same time that...
You actually thought for one moment that was real. Of course, his thoughts haven't changed. The apology seemed genuine. He explained very clearly in a very concise manner why he felt bad about what he said, why it was wrong, why people shouldn't feel bad for him, why he made the point, why it was too generalized towards the people he was talking about, why it was perceived negatively despite his better intentions. Obviously I believed it. What do you mean? It seemed very genuine to me. The only thing he ever stabbed was his toe with his toe knife. What the fuck is a toe knife?
The house is fucking, we can barely pay for the house. We're worried about getting evicted from the house. We have no AC, or no, we did have AC. We didn't have heat, and so I would go to sleep, and like the house would be so cold because I would just give her the heater, and I always viewed it as like oh, I'm sleeping out on Mount Everest.
Is feeling bad in the apology required if we assume he cannot experience that feeling? I don't fucking know. I never dealt with a situation like this. I don't know. He's not apologizing to me. I don't have emotional investment in it, but it's just like, I'm just trying to dig into what is happening here. I wasn't offended on the behalf of Palestinians and Muslims for what he said. I just thought it was a crazy thing to say. It's just making me question everything he said. Tom's never beating the swamp ass allegations. Why do I want to beat it? I'll embrace it. It's not an allegation. It's the truth.
Right? It's like, I'm cosplaying as Bear Grylls, and I remember like my glass of water in my room, there would have like ice crystals on the edge of it, right? Because of how fucking cold it was. And so I did that really for like 2 years, and so we had like basically like zero money. And so this happened, and pretty much like her health would deteriorate more and more.
Learning empathy means you can still feel empathy. That's why you learn it. Well, he didn't say he learned empathy. He learned how to fake empathy is what he said earlier, right? I don't think I'm taking him out of context here. I think that's what I literally just saw him say earlier in the video.
More and more, to the point where she couldn't drive, she couldn't do X, she couldn't do Y, she couldn't get a job anymore. And then it relied on me more and more to completely support her in like pretty much all ways. And so, and I remember she would like beg, like she was like on the ground, like crying, begging me not to call an ambulance. And so this was very upsetting for me, by the way. I got to the point where like at this time period, I would wake up like every 2 hours or so with like.
Oh my God, I just found this picture of his sink. What the fuck is this? On r/Asmongold. New lore just dropped. So this is his sink. There's a spider in it? There's a big ass spider in his sink? Isn't this the guy whose house is full of cockroaches? Not anymore. They have been upgraded with a spider. Look at the black lagoon down there. This is disgusting. What the? That is so scary, dude. I would blow my brains out if I had to see that in real life. That is horrifying, genuinely. The spider is cute. You're a sick in the head if you've ever found any spider cute, ever.
Like a weird thing.
You're more sick than Asmongold. I think you slow stroke God 69 for the tono.
I would hear her screaming my name. And this went on for maybe like 6 months to a year. And also I want to say that like all of this stuff and everything about it, I don't really like, everybody in life has problems, and I hope that by sharing my problems, people can kind of see where I'm coming from as a person. I don't really care about sympathy. I don't care about people feeling bad for me. I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me. So I hope that nobody thinks that this is coming off as any form of a, like sympathy play. I've had.
Asmon would smear blood from his gums on the walls. Yeah, we went over that. That was also insane. Like, he just has no care for his physical being whatsoever. He doesn't care if he's healthy or not whatsoever. He just wants to be a streamer degenerate guy. All that matters, he's a cyborg. All that matters to him is inside of his computer monitor. Everything else is nothing.
Things bad happen in my life. I think that in many cases they've been my fault. I've deserved them. But this is just what's happened. And so.
Jumping spiders are cute. I'm going to look this up for fear of my own safety. No, it's not. This is fucking freaky. It's the same as all of them, and all of them need to be killed. I advocate for spider genocide. I would get rid of all. This is not cute in any way. This is foul and disgusting. I hate it.
Anyway,
not kawaii at all.
And every action and every outcome in my life leading up to now has led me.
I advocate for the arachnid genocide. Okay, no amount is high enough. Get rid of all of them. Hope you like bugs. I don't. I want to get rid of all of them. Kill every bug. Kill every spider. Kill every mosquito, moth, butterfly, ladybug, stick bug, any bug. Anything with more than 4 limbs is going. And daddy long legs aren't safe in that. Get rid of them too. Rare Tom L. No. Common Tom W. The bugs will die. Good. Are crabs bugs? Yes. No crabs, no lobsters, none of it. They're all gone. They're all gone. No shellfish, no crayfish, no crawfish. Why do you hate bugs? They're disgusting. They look like they're from hell. They look like they're from hell. Every bug I've ever seen looks freaking demonic. No more seafood? No, there's still fish. We can eat fish. Dono goal for a bug tasting stream? I'm never doing that. There's unironically no amount of money you can pay me to eat any kind of bug. Hermit crabs are cute. Nope. They're gone. No bugs. Bees? No, I think we're done with bees too. Destroy the ecosystem. I don't care. All bugs must go. They're all gone. Bug chasing is fun. Yeah, you would know, bro. you would know. You've probably got a collection. You probably got a patina accumulated on your human form. What do you do when there's a bug in your girlfriend's room? Just don't have a girlfriend so you don't have to deal with that. Is having a girlfriend really worth dealing with the bugs in her room? I would say no. Whatever the cost is to not be around bugs needs to happen. Stop saying mean things about Adam Friedland. True. Very true, buddy.
into the position.
Moths are cute. Nope. No moths. They're gone. What a butterfly? Nope. No butterflies. They're gone. All bugs are gone. No bugs. No exceptions. I'm an equal opportunity bug hater. They're all gone. Spiders aren't big. Don't care. Any bug. Any small spider, any big spider, they're gone. I'm a hater. I feel like they're going to come for me now. No bugs. Just because you said that, Tom, I'm getting the spider tattoo behind my ear. Also, don't fuck with my crustaceans. They're delirious. They're delirious? Yeah, they're delirious because I'm advocating for a genocide against every bug on Earth.
That I am right now. And I think that in a lot of cases, I'm happy with how I am.
Total bug death. TBD.
And you can't just go back and edit out all the bad parts and expect to be in the good part. And so at the same time this was happening, like a lot of my friends were obviously going through college, finishing college, having girlfriends, like moving in and everything. And I was worried about, number one, my mom dying. Number two, being homeless. And number three, at that point, I had always assumed that I would kill myself after high school. Like that was my plan. And, Wrath of the Lich King came out and I just got distracted.
That's kind of Kino. That's kind of based. Yeah, I really wanted to end my life, but this new video game expansion came out and I was like, maybe you can wait. Maybe it's worth actually playing. Maybe it's worth playing, dude.
I forgot. And so I ended up not doing that. And because of that...
He explains that so casually. He says it so like... It's just a normal thing. Like, yeah, I really wanted to end my life, but then, there's like video games, so I decided not to. Is this relatable to anyone in chat? Has any specific like video game or album release kept you from ending it all? What's your brother's maiden name? It's your mom.
I never brushed my teeth in high school. Never really gave a fuck about.
He never brushed his teeth in high school. So his mom just didn't parent him. She just didn't care. Slime Rancher. Regular show reboot saved me. Paste. Good show. I didn't know it was getting a reboot. The Talk to a podcast saved my life. Well, I think we can all relate to that, obviously.
About it. Never cared. And this caused, guess what that causes? It causes your teeth to rot out. And so...
Yeah, shocking. So that's why the blood wall happened. Because he didn't brush his teeth. And he probably got gingivitis and who knows what else. So he just had disgusting breath. I'm surprised his teeth are so white. Are these fake teeth? Are these veneers? Does he have like one tooth to rub together that's actually genetic material inside his mouth and the rest are just replaced? They must have all fallen out. I meant to say delicious. Your mom is delicious.
So a lot of my teeth had to be, I had to get fillings and everything as a teenager. And my dad paid for a lot of it, which he was very, very unhappy about. And so these fillings would come out. This is what happens with fillings or anything like that. And they did come out, and then, of course, my teeth deteriorated naturally because I love soda. I love drinking.
To be clear, that's not just what happens. They don't just come out. When I was a kid, I didn't brush my teeth super well. I think I had a total of, between the ages of, 7 and 9, maybe I had, 5 fillings, maybe. I don't really remember. Maybe 5 or 6 fillings. I want to say I think we did 2 at once and then 3 at once. And I just brushed my teeth after that, and they didn't fall out. I still have the fillings in my teeth. My teeth are fine. I don't think the fillings just necessarily fall out.
Drinking soda. I've got a soda right over there. Went to McDonald's earlier today. Really, really like soda. Like it so much that right now I only have 5 real teeth left in my whole mouth. And I think you start with 32, which is kind of crazy to think. And so anyway, this happened, and all my teeth were starting to rot out. I was not able to eat with one side of my mouth. I would have these toothaches that would get so bad that I would pass out from the pain, and I eventually...
They can fall out if you don't take care of your teeth. Well, yeah, obviously, but generally for people who get fillings, the results of that is a wake-up call that I had a bunch of cavities because I was, eating too much sugar and not brushing my teeth properly. Maybe I should eat less sugar and actually brush my teeth and floss and use mouthwash. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Okay? This guy just didn't. He just decided not to. He was he got fillings. And he was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing it. I'm not changing. That is crazy.
I had to go to basically, if you're the people that really get fucked by medical bills are the people that are in the middle of economically, because if you're broke, they'll do shit for you for $10. If they can get anything, they'll do it. And so I had a program like that, and so they would have to pull out my teeth kind of regularly. And
regularly getting his teeth pulled out. This guy's life has been years and years of just being in the goon cave. I've started my muscle mommy gym journey because of your constant heckling. I hope you're happy. I actually am. That's nice to hear. GG. Emma, what does that even mean? Tomby looking like Permian period Lystrosaurus? What does that even mean? Is that some kind of bug? I'm not looking that up. It's probably an insect. I'm not looking that up.
That's how I lost. I have no back teeth at all. That's why, if you look at my jawline, it's very different than if you look at it from like, you know, high school or like by the age of like 19 or 20. It's completely changed because I've lost all of my teeth and my jaw
Holy shit.
bone is like pretty much rotted out. And
oh my
so,
God. The jawbone is rotted out? This guy needs to mew. This guy needs to seriously mew.
As far as I know, is unfixable, at least in the way that I have this problem.
He's a cyborg. His jaw is not real. This is all just fake. That is so crazy. You want to give gum jobs base, dude.
Separate problem that is fixable. I don't have that one. I talked to a dentist about it. So it's basically like irreversibly fucked. And so anyway, this happened, and it was not a great time.
He says it so matter-of-factly, too. He doesn't even have any emotional distress over it. He's just like, yeah, so my teeth rotted out, stabbed someone, hit a kid in the face with a baseball. I have no empathy. I still kind of like him. I still feel like he's probably an interesting dude to talk to, but he's got his life is just fucked. His life has been fucked.
My teeth were rotting out, etc. And at that point, I had to completely, like, pretty much give up the notion and give up the dream of ever being a normal person. At that point, I could feel myself no longer being the same as anybody else, right? And I actually, for a while, I really hated it, but then I got used to it, and then I embraced it, and I think that's where I am now. So I would say like that was from like ages, like I would say, you know, 13 to, I don't know, like 21, somewhere around there, right? Then after that, I started doing other stuff. I was playing WoW, I was making videos, I was doing other random things, right? And my mom...
A lot of people have worse lives. He's just insane. I mean, he definitely had a bad life. You can't deny that. I don't think it's, you know, playing the comparison game is necessary. It seems to me like the obvious problem is just he had some bad things happen. He, you know, his family situation wasn't amazing growing up. But on top of that, he was just an antisocial, unempathetic person who didn't really care. Aslan's a millionaire, probably. He's a multimillionaire, undoubtedly. He has so much money. And he just decided to retreat from the world, to retreat into the recesses of being a degenerate online gamer gooner, and he just lived through that. He didn't care. That was it.
Mom's like health pretty much would always get worse, and that's just, you know, that's just the way it is when you get older, right? And so I would have to do my best to like take care of her, and worked at the IRS for a while, tried to work at Sam's Club.
He hasn't had a bad life. How is it not a bad life to be sitting in your fucking room all day doing nothing but streaming and gaming? How is it not a bad life? That seems miserable. That's extremely miserable. That is a bad life. You can say like, oh, he's a millionaire. He doesn't enjoy any of the luxuries willingly of those millions. He lives in filth. He has a life. That he chose to do that. Well, yeah, but it's still not a good life, even if he chose it. That's still a bad life. That's not good. That's not healthy. That's not normal. That's not going to make you a good functioning person. Him doing it to himself is irrelevant. I know that. He's describing how he did it to himself over and over. I'm not saying I feel bad for him. I don't. He chose it, but it is crazy. If he's happy, there's no way he's happy. There's no way he even knows what happy is or means if he thinks that this is a normal way to live.
Didn't really go very well. But overall, I, you know, tried to go back to college. I do have a college degree, if you can imagine that. But learned more from business from WoW than I did from business school. And so then I spent that time. And then this was all the time, like, you know, me not knowing if she would, you know, every day I would wake up and, like, you know, hear that voice in my mind. And, like, you know, it was really, really bad. And
think he's ever had a girl hawk tuah on him? I think he has dated a few girls, and I think they were pretty attractive, actually, yeah. I think he has had a girl hawk tuah, probably.
This is just something I would do all the time, and I try to always make the best out of things. I try to just, you know, not think about it. But, you know, looking back on it, things were very, very bad. And so anyway, you know, fast forward a little bit later, and that's whenever I was like going back to college. I thought that I would just, you know, basically have a shitty job, play video games for my whole life, and then die, right? And then I got a shitty job, and I realized the shitty job is actually a lot more shitty than I thought it would be. So then I remember it was probably like one of the best things that ever happened to me, is that I took this job at Sam's Club, and I hated it so much, it actually encouraged me to make myself a better person, if you can imagine that. And so I
Surprising,
signed up
actually.
to go back to university and finish another degree that I was working on so I could go to law school. Actually, I wanted to be a lawyer, basically because
Imagine the world where this guy becomes a lawyer. Imagine. Your Honor, there are roaches in my house all over my legal paperwork. Your Honor, I've been wiping my bloody teeth on the blood wall all night, and it gave me the inspiration for this opening statement. My client is disabled, and therefore, there's no reason why he could have ever committed this crime. You know, I like my Hawk to a drippy, bruh. Don't we all, buddy? Don't we all? Thank you, BCG Jimmy, for becoming a member.
Because I had a friend in high school. We would always play Magic the Gathering, and I could see him. He would always manipulate the rules to come out ahead and win different, like, arguments in Magic the Gathering. And I was like, I bet lawyers do that in real life. I should do that myself. And so that was always my motivation. And anyway, I did that. And then, you know, a number of other things, you know, random things that are not, you know, I would say like YouTube or public safe that I did. And then after that, I started doing YouTube. And then I started doing YouTube, and I focused on that. And I would put videos out of the way that I lived, etc. And people would always find it to be very funny or like weird, and everybody would like really like. There were a lot of people, and this is true even now, people that like hate me for living the way that I do. And I think that really, you know, people look at a person like me and they see a person who has a number of things in their life that they wish they had, but I've done basically. You know, if you look at it from like, what do they tell you to do when you're growing up? You know, I used every single thing to do as a checklist of what not to do, right? And so, you know, I think that a lot of people could be a little bit, you know, annoyed by that. And so I can see why, and et cetera. And it is disgusting, by the way. And so, you know, missing half your teeth and, you know, living in a dump with a dead rat alarm clock. You don't know if your mom's going to be
A dead rat alarm clock. The thing that wakes him up is the smell of the dead rat. Just take it out. Just get a trash bag and move the rat. It's not that difficult. If this is, you know, they always say, what's that Jordan Peterson thing? He says, like, your room, clean your room. He says your room is a manifestation of your mind. Your dwelling is a manifestation of your mind. If you have like a clean, organized, cleanly room, that's a manifestation usually of what's going on in your head. It's like the place to start, you know, at the very least, have the respect for yourself to clean your room and make your bed. Obviously, it's not always true, but I think it's clear to me that this guy's life is kind of a disorganized mess, you know, and his room is like a reflection of his uncaring attitude towards that.
Alive that day. You've got no money. You have to support her. She's never going to be able to support herself. And things are just basically slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And I started doing YouTube, and things started doing a little bit better. I started doing streaming. Things were doing better then. I went to get my teeth fixed, because if you look at my old videos, a lot of my old videos, you'd notice that I smile. You know, when I smile, I cover my mouth when I smile. The reason for that is this isn't Saikuno, where I don't like my smile. Yeah, well, I don't like my smile. It's not because I think it's ugly. It's because I didn't have any fucking teeth. And I didn't want people to see that. And so that's why I would cover my mouth a lot whenever I first started streaming. And so this happened to me for a long time. I go to the dentist, and they tell me it's going to be like around $50,000 to get all my teeth fixed and everything.
Whoa, 50 grand? I've never heard of a dental bill that expensive. 50 fucking grand? Because all of his teeth are fucked. Every single tooth needs to be fixed. He needs to buy 5 cars to get his teeth fixed. That is freaking insane. That's just full replacements on every tooth. Common dental cost? Dude, 50 grand is not a common dental cost, even without insurance. It's just not. Because typically not everybody that's going to the dentist has all of their teeth rotted out.
Taken care of.
50. He's paying the official dentist in that place is like half a salary for the year.
Then I thought, maybe, because it was the first time at that point where I kind of like, it really hit me that I had like irreversibly and irreparably damaged my life in a way that I couldn't just immediately like undo. Because like as a kid, you know, usually you make a mistake where it's like you scrape your knee and then, well, you put a bandage on and it gets better. But with this, it never was going to get better, and it's only going to get worse, and it certainly has, by the way. And so anyway, I did want to kill myself, but I decided instead of killing myself, I'd do something even worse. I'd start streaming. And I started streaming because I...
Is that worse? Chat, is streaming worse than ending your life? What's your guys' take? If you... Holy based. The thing is, I mean, he's joking here, obviously. Streaming has been a big part of his life. I'm sure he's proud of some of the stuff he's built, but streaming definitely didn't make him a better person in the way he did it.
I wasn't really making enough money, and everybody says, oh, well, I started streaming because, you know, I like interacting with people. It's because I was lonely. Well, I started streaming for money. I needed some fucking money. And so that's what I did. And I was like, guys, we've got a donation goal of $100, and, you know, if we get $100, I'm going to go to Wendy's tomorrow. And I would always meme it up, you know, $1 equals one donut, and it's like, you know, I would make a bunch of money, and it was great. And things actually did go very well. I streamed every single night. I was very dedicated. I tried to make things as entertaining as possible, and, you know, I did what I tried to do best, right? And things kind of got better, and they improved. This happened just at pretty much the same time. A lot of my friends were kind of evolving and going past, like college. Like,
it is interesting how, like, right now, I think there's this perception online that everybody who did content creation in the past only did it for the fun of it. And I think, you know, to some extent, there used to be less monetary incentive because on certain platforms like YouTube, it wasn't as easy to make money. But for a lot of streamers, like, the reason they did it in the first place, I mean, they liked it. But as soon as they realized they could make money, they were like, that's my primary motivation, you know? That became the thing to do. And it makes perfect sense, you know? Why would you not? Thanks, Eric, for the 5 gifted memberships. Big ups. He brings up ending his life like Boogie does. Way away, I ruined my life. I'm going to end my life. It never does. But guys, I was this close. I don't think he does at all. Because when Boogie does it, it's always for sympathy. It's always because he wants sympathy. It's always because he wants people to feel bad for him. That's not how he does it. He states it so matter-of-factly and like intentionally. He's not like drip feeding it dramatically. He doesn't mention it like every single day. He's making this one video explaining his life. So I completely disagree. I don't think it's even close to Boogie. Streaming is a slow death with the world watching you. Rot is worse than killing yourself, I guess. I mean, it depends on the kind of streaming you do. There are some streamers who have relatively healthy, normal lives and have streamed a lot, you know? Like, you can look at a lot of Twitch people, you know? I know people in chat don't really like Ludwig. I've criticized him a lot. There's a reason why a lot of my audience doesn't like him. I don't particularly like him very much, but he seemingly has a relatively normal, healthy life outside of streaming. His life hasn't been ruined from it. You know, it depends on how you do it. It really depends on how you go about it. If you're streaming, you know, all day, every day, 12 to 14 hours a day for 6 years on average, obviously your life is probably not going to be that good. Obviously, you're probably not going to be a great person by the end of that. But if you do it in a more healthy way, if you're working normal streaming schedules and treat it like a normal job, you have stuff outside of it. You know, you keep your ego in check. You have some self-awareness about the potential negative effects that streaming can have on your mental state. I think you can be fine. Thank you, Goaty Beard, for the dono. Bro's so antisocial, scary the way he talks. I don't find it scary, but it is very, like, unique, I guess. Some of the things he said are kind of concerning. Thank you, BCG, for becoming, or gifting membership, rather. Thank you. Fair enough. My friend hates when I say based. But yeah, I just disagree with the idea that he acts like Boogie. I don't think he does.
Like, they were getting careers, getting married,
it's the
having
opposite.
kids, and
like, if Boogie is the peak emotional manipulation investment, this is the opposite. It's no emotional investment at all.
Now I'm pretty sure, I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure every single friend that I have is either married or has a kid, which is kind of crazy considering that, I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing, but it is kind of weird. I'm 34 now, which is honestly a fucking shock. Like, I can't believe it. I don't feel 34. I feel like I'm still 16. But I look in the mirror, I see my hairline, and I think to myself, oh my God, wait a minute, I think I'm actually 34. And if I'm really not sure, I talk to somebody who's 16, and then I realize, hold up, wait a minute, no, actually I am 34. Because there's no better way to realize that you're actually older until you talk to somebody who's actually younger. At least it is for me. So anyway, my stream was doing very well. My social life really, I pretty much like stopped interacting with.
I mean, it basically stunted his development, right? He didn't have the adult experiences that you would normally have. He didn't have the, normal developmental stuff that you would have from when you're 21 to 30. He didn't have those normal adult experiences. He's kidding? Okay, you guys are being a little bit, okay. The jokes are funny, but he's not okay. Ha ha, he talked to a 16-year-old. Ha ha. You realize people have family members that they can be friends with who are 16. It's not to speak to a 16-year-old once. Okay, as funny as the jokes are, Zoomers think talking means flirting. The internet's just brain rotted. What if he did it twice? Well, obviously the context of what he's saying matters. If he's messaging them, sexually, that's different, but he didn't do that. Does he have nobody in his life to look out for him? Like he needs an EA at this point? What is an EA? They're going to clip you? Well, that always happens on streams. Did you react to Oompa owning you yet? Ask SB if you don't believe me. I sent a clip to him. He's chill. I did see that. This is a real clip, dude. It's this video.
Tell you what,
it's been a meme in chat that like Oompaville owned you, and I would get baited. I'd be like, okay, what is it? But he literally did own me in this clip, dude.
it's very tense. It's very awkward. He kind of reminds me of Turkey Tom a little bit.
Fuck this guy. Man-child sued by his parents. It reminds me of Turkey Tom.
Anymore.
You don't want to live with your parents.
I don't like living with. No.
No.
It's not. It's very tense. It's very awkward.
Is this how I talk? What is this? Is this guy like me? Does he look like me?
He kind of reminds me of Turkey Tom a little bit.
He fucking owned me.
This is his brother. This is Turkey Tom's brother.
That's a fire picture. He kind of does look like me a little bit, actually.
Lived, at your parents' house, rent.
This is me if I went the Asmongold route, if I grew out my hair. Yeah, this could have been me in an alternate reality. My parents suing me for not moving out. That'll be base, dude.
A lot of friends of mine, because I focus pretty much just on streaming and on making this as much as possible. And also, I'm a very introverted person in a lot of ways. I like being alone. I don't like people talking to me a whole lot. I don't like phone calls. I don't like interacting with people. I don't like going out. You guys might notice this, right? If it's, a mystery or secret. And so,
this is like the same thing Mr. Beast said. I mean, he didn't say he doesn't like talking to people. He was like, I don't like going out to restaurants. I don't like going to the mall. I don't like going to concerts. I don't like any of that shit. I only want to do YouTube. For him, it's, I hate everything that isn't being on my computer playing video games. If you have this kind of disposition, if you're like this naturally, I think you need to force yourself to go outside and try to, even if it's just faking it at first, try to fake being a normal person and develop normal relationships with people. It's not good for you to be like this. Introverts, this isn't just typical introversion. This is another level. I think that's very clear. If you're like this, you need to force yourself to interact with normal people so you don't become whatever this bedroom is a manifestation of.
Big surprise, that's how it was.
Like, I naturally do like spending a lot of time in my room, I do. But I also like going outside and hanging out with people, and you have to do that to maintain your fucking sanity. If you don't enjoy being around anyone else, there's something wrong with you. Humans are very social creatures.
And then, I started streaming. My stream started doing better. And there was a degree of, stress that created. But, and in terms of, my lifestyle and everything, living that way, I never really thought about it at that point. I never really worried too much about, kind of how, people would perceive me. I always viewed myself as, this is just who I am. This is what I am. That's all there is to it. And I never really took, and I still don't really take any criticism or any negativity to heart. I don't take it personally. I don't really care a whole lot. And so at the end of the day, it never really bothered me, and people thought it was funny. And so, I had a snack box, and there were maggots in the snack box, and I would eat the food with the maggots inside of the food. It was like honey buns, which were really, really good. And to be honest, I didn't even really taste them.
What? He ate maggots? There were maggots inside of the food, and he ate them anyway? And he had the money to buy new... I don't understand. I don't understand. Why? He's just eating larvae? He's just eating fucking fly babies? Protein? Yeah, that was probably the only protein he got during that period of his life. He probably was just eating maggots. He wasn't eating meat. He was just eating processed crap like honey buns. That's probably the only protein he ever ate. What is going on? What the fuck does that mean? How is this real? I keep saying, what does this mean? I just can't believe that it's real that he ate maggots. And then he admitted that online. You couldn't torture this information out of me. You couldn't send me to Guantanamo Bay for 10 years. This will never come out of me. I will die before admitting that I ate maggots on purpose and knew it and was cool with it. It wasn't like an accidental thing where he like ate some kind of apple and then found out it was rotten on the inside. He just kept eating them. He was like, it's not that bad. It's whatever. People eat mosquitoes in Africa. He doesn't live in Africa. He lives in Texas. He lives in fucking Texas. There's a clip of it? No, there's not. I don't believe that. No.
Little ones? Look at them, guys. Look at them. I think they're little small ones. See? Right there? I don't know if I should eat those or not.
What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know if you should eat them? Why is it even a question? Just don't!
I kind of feel like...
He's just munching on maggots right now. He just keeps going. That is fucking insane. That is absolutely nuts. Why? You could just avoid this willingly. You don't have to do that. How is that a real video? Protein, brother? Yeah, this is what I'm missing. This is why I can't reach 190 pounds, dude. I'm just not, a bulk maxer like Asmongold is.
So it was pretty much the same thing. Didn't even bother me. And so, I had like taken at that point, my teeth had like totally rotten out. And so I had taken pliers to like break pieces of my teeth off.
What? He went to Ace Hardware to do his own dental work?
Bruh.
How does it keep getting worse? How come every minute of this video I'm confronted with a new revelation about how foul this guy is?
Even, like if I wasn't able to speak during a stream because like a point was like, poking my tongue. Or like, playing a game or something like that, talking to people. And so I still have the pliers actually in my bathroom from all the way back then. And
he kept the pliers that he used to pull his teeth out in the bathroom for fun. There's probably blood on them right now. I might almost get too grossed out to continue. I don't even blame you. This is the visuals of this guy eating maggots and pulling teeth out of his face. He says it, once again, he says it so nonchalantly. He says it's like it's normal. What the fuck is this guy's deal?
And, so this had happened for quite a while.
Ace is the place with the helpful dental assistants. True. IRL Schmiegel. Very real.
And then I guess you could say I started the second phase of my life of like trying to remove myself from like...
What go to freaking out about it, do? I don't know. I just feel like it's a normal reaction to freak out. If you're a normal guy, you're probably going to look back at yourself and be like, what the freak was wrong with me? He's accepted it to such a level he doesn't even care.
Caring about, being worried about the outcome of other people. It was always very scary for me to know that, my mom would die one day, right? This was extremely scary. This was, the one thing that I didn't want to have happen. And in 2000...
Yeah, living like an animal doesn't do this justice. No animal would do this. If an animal was having its teeth pulled out by pliers and being forced to eat maggots, PETA would get involved. Animals don't live like this.
And 21, it did happen. And so leading up to that was incredibly stressful. She pretty much did everything that she possibly could. I love her, but she did every fucking thing that she could to make things as absolutely unpleasant as possible. Oh my God. And so, yes. It was very frustrating to deal with somebody like that. But, she was 70 at the time. And so it really, really, really hurt. And it's, she was the main person in my life that I was, most connected to. And, this is the person that I had, the deepest emotional connection with. And to just lose them. And it was kind of random, by the way. Things got worse over time, but it was nothing at the very end there. It just kind of went off a fucking cliff. And so this happened. And then at about the same time, a little bit after that, I also broke up with a long-term girlfriend at the time, and then at the...
Bro, what girl was willing to date him with all this knowledge? Was it one of these TikTok rot maxing girls? What girl was willing to date the dude that had teeth falling out and was pulling them out with pliers, despite the fact he had money and was eating maggots on purpose? Who has been through this with him?
The same time...
He has multiple girlfriends. Yeah, I guess I would be surprised, in fairness. Or I wouldn't be surprised. Pink Sparkles, was she dating him at this point in time that he's describing? I thought that was like a few years ago rather than like 15.
My dad got so fucking sick that we were like talking about writing his will, like, and he's still setting all that up because he doesn't know if this shit's gonna happen again, right? What's gonna be? And he's 77 too, so it's rough, right? It's bad. And he went through pneumonia 4 fucking times in a year.
Yeah, I know he dated Pink Sparkle. She was one of the during the Twitch booby streamer hate. She was one of them. That was very on top of that whole drama situation. This is the girl he dated. I think you guys are doing it wrong, okay? Look at what he got, all right? You guys are fucking losers. Look at what you could have. Look at what you could have. If you're not Asmongold maxing, what are you doing, buddy? Get mogged. Get absolutely mogged. How did he bag that? Well, I did ask that question, but in fairness, like, girls will date anyone. Girls have very low standards in real life, I think. Surprisingly.
And so, and he's still getting around, you know, going to the store, etc. But I got to help him every once in a while too, right? And it is what.
Wonder why she was with him with dollar signs. I mean, the thing is, like, she had money too. She was a famous Twitch streamer, so I doubt that was it. She probably still actually liked him in some form.
It is. And so again,
did they sleep on his bed with a dead rat? Yeah, dead rat back shots. Who knows, bro? Maybe.
And you know, we don't have any family around here, and so. You know, if something goes wrong, if something's bad, there's one person who's responsible for that, and that's me. And so that's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure, right? And you know, I had all 3 of these things happen to me within pretty much 1 year of each other, maybe 2 years with the thing with my dad. And so at that point, I began the second part of, I think that, like, you know, my you know, abstraction of reality is that I've tried my best to remove myself from caring about other people as much as I can, and not caring about them in terms of, like, you know, being friendly. Of course I'm friendly with people, but being emotionally attached to having them in my life, being emotionally attached to the way that they feel about me and how they're doing. It's been very hard for me to actually have any sort of feelings towards people when it seems like everybody that was important to me is fucking dying. And so this or leaving.
So it was like a trauma response. He stopped being attached to people because the people in his life were going away, so he just tried to stop caring, basically. And wondering that, too, what woman decides to willing to date someone like this, just objectively he lives a repulsive and depressing lifestyle? I mean, the thing is, obviously he is a famous streamer, so he's in a unique position, but you'd be surprised how low women's standards are. There's so many instances in my life where I've been like, how is that girl dating that guy? But women have very different standards than guys do. You know, guys care more about physical attractiveness. Women care more about, like, personality and stuff like that, unironically. That's just generally true. So yeah, you know, if a girl likes you enough, they'll date you. Not true? It is 1000% true. I speak this from absolute true based experience. I know it.
Right? Or breaking up with me. So at a certain point, you just kind of get away from that. And then after that, you know, we entered into, I would say, the third phase, which is the point where I you know, lose the connection with myself. And I think that whenever I finally do that, I think that maybe one day I might be happy again. And what I mean by that is that I always worry about, like, dying and, you know, all this stuff and, like, how I'm, you know, like, where do you go, what happens, right? And it would be very, very stressful for me. And I usually reassure myself by reminding myself that I'm just a hyper-intelligent monkey that probably evolved too fast. And I think that we all are, by the way. It's not like I'm special. And that usually is oddly reassuring. But otherwise, it was very stressful for me. And I did think that I was farther along. I thought I would be okay with dying until I thought that I was dying, and then I realized that I wasn't as far along as I thought I was. Recently, whenever I had a blood pressure reading of 194, which is a high score so far, you know, at least so far.
It's crazy that his blood pressure is so high when on paper he should be living a very low-stress lifestyle. Like, he spends all day in his room playing video games, streaming. Like, on paper, you would think that his stress levels would be extremely low. But he got a crazy high score. The way that your mind interprets things and the way that you go about doing them matters way more than what you're actually doing when it comes to your mental health, I think, for sure.
And so things have been improving since then, by the way. But anyway, this has been, you know, my life. And I
mean, yeah, processed food is obviously a big contributor as well. His diet will have a big contribution to that. But there are people who have a perfect diet and seemingly should be living a low-stress lifestyle. But I bet Hassan has pretty high blood pressure.
I stopped really caring about anything. I stopped caring about what happens to me. I stopped caring about what happens to other people. I stopped caring about what people think about me. And I felt that the more that I have...
Miss Eighth in chat says, I look for personality before anything else. If I can't hit it off with a guy, no amount of good looks will help. That's just how it is. I mean, yeah, obviously, like, if you're going into super hypergamous scenarios like Tinder, where the first thing people see and rate you off of is your looks. Obviously, in a situation like that, I think, you're going to be, rated just on your looks by women a lot of the time. But, it just seems to be the case to me that, in general, women are willing to look past, like, typically unattractive stuff about your face or your body or stuff like that if they find you to be a really funny, interesting person. And I don't think guys in general look past that stuff as much, Maybe this is just my own, maybe this is just me speaking on how I feel, but I found this to be the case with most guys that I've ever met in my life. And most women that I've ever met, I've met a lot of women who are willing to date a guy who stereotypically is fat and, unattractive, but because he's really funny or really interesting or they really just get along and have good chemistry, they're willing to date, the fat, ugly dude. As I've gotten a little bit older and dated around a little bit more, I personally have grown to value, like, looks less. I'm more, quote unquote, forgiving, I used to have it in my head that, like, I need to date a girl that looks like this and exactly like this. And I kind of quickly realized that that's kind of in my opinion, a bad bar for what makes a relationship good. I think what makes a relationship good is being willing to accept someone's flaws, but I think on average, that's not how everybody works,
Of the more that I've cared about things, the more unhappy I've been as a person. And I think that this is true on, like, a base level. Is this some sort of pathological problem for me? I think it probably is. But at the end of the day, this is the best way that I know to cope with it, right? And so for me, the way that I live and everything is a manifestation of that. It's always been this way for me. My mom, like, growing up, things were pretty messy, etc. But then even now, things are worse than they ever have been in terms of, like, being messy. But, I never really think about it or worry about it because I'm just never really... It doesn't even cross my mind. I'm thinking about things that I want to think about. I'm doing things that I want to do.
He just put himself in a position where he doesn't have to confront the sad reality of a lot of his life. Because he gets directly rewarded for being the way he is. It just turns into a meme on the internet. He doesn't have to really worry about it, He didn't have to improve. If he was living a normal lifestyle, he'd be instantly punished for all these crazy habits he has that are clearly disgusting. But because he's just streaming, it doesn't really matter. It becomes endearing, When you're going to address the Hawk Tuah and Neon allegations, I did it and I don't regret it, and it was base and it was fire. That's what I would say about that. Kind of like Nikado. Yeah, I mean, you could say that about Nikado a while ago, but it seems to be the case now where Nikado is, like, far more in control. Because he lost the weight, he was able to do it. He was able to take control of it. Like, Asmongold was like, he was like trapped by his popularity, by his stardom to not improve.
And I never think about what other people think about me. I don't think about how it affects other people. I don't think about how they feel or anything like that. And it might sound like a bad thing, but it's made me a happier and more fulfilled person, not worrying about anybody else really other than myself unless I have to. And it's been very, like, weird for me getting older, especially. And, like, having, like, priorities change in your life and, having different things happen to you. And so I wanted to make this video and kind of, like, explain, like, kind of how I got to be this way. And hopefully a little bit of this can, like, explain, why do I behave this way? Why am I like this? Why do I have no shame with things, right?
If Asmon still had rotting teeth in this video, people would have different opinions. I don't think they would. I think it would be mostly the same response. I don't think it would change that much about it. I mean, it may be visually more gross to look at, but I don't think that would happen.
Because I've lived a life where I've tried desperately to hold on to any degree of dignity that I've had and anything that I've had, and it's just slowly been taken away from me. Whether it's myself, pieces of myself, other people, or the way that the world sees me. I think that the more that I've kind of just, let things flow freely and not care about it, the more happy and content that I've been. And so it's an ongoing process, and began whenever I said, I guess I said I was like 13. And, I guess the last thing for me to do is really to let go of myself and, just finally be content with my own existence for the time that I exist.
I mean, I feel like that's not, you can be content with your existence and who you are, but if the person you are sucks, you should acknowledge that and strive to change, If your life that you're content with is the life that Asmongold lives, I don't think you should be happy or proud of that, you know? And he seemingly has acknowledged that recently in his new video where he says his life fucking sucks and he needs to change it. But, like, if you're a shitty person, you shouldn't just be like, oh, that's who I am. I'm a loser. It's just what it is. Like, instead of sinking into that, you should change who you are to be better. You can literally mold the person you are to be better. Sounds like cope. I don't even know if it's cope. It just sounds like he doesn't care more. It sounds like a genuine not caring at this point in his life, at least.
And I'm not really a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person either. I don't believe there's any light at the end of the tunnel. I definitely don't think so. And I just try to make the best of being in the tunnel. And so that's why I live the way that I do. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why I say the things that I do. That's why a lot of criticism and things like this, of course I don't like it. Of course I don't like it. But it doesn't really emotionally affect me in the same way that I think it does for other people. And it used to affect me a lot more, but I've, you know, gotten a little bit better at least at dealing with it. And so hopefully this can answer some questions and kind of give people a little bit more insight into my life and the kind of person I am. And that's pretty much about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to cover. 30-minute video. Actually, I was expecting it to be longer. So, you know, that's my life story. That's what's happened to me.
Well, it sounds really fucked up. I think he explained pretty well why he is the way he is. I still am confused by some of his choices, but I think that's about as in-depth, solid of an explanation as we could get. Now, keep in mind, this was 2 weeks ago of him explaining this, and now 2 weeks later, we've gotten the kind of blow up in his face moment where he had to apologize and walk away from things. And he said he wants to finally clean his house. So he'll be back to streaming in 2 weeks. So I'm very curious if he'll change things. I'm curious if he'll come around and change things and fix his fucking disgusting pigsty that he lives in. I'm very curious to see if that will happen. Damn. Bro needs some help. He stabbed someone. He said he did. I mean, that was in his own words. So it seems that way, yeah. So we'll give Asmon trend. Imagine if Asmongold just got really jacked. How crazy would that be? I think it would change things a lot, personally. Wait, I just saw this from Reddit 2 days ago. Imagine if he came back looking like this. Imagine if this happened. That would be sick. I would actually love that if that happened. If he cleaned the room, shaved his head, and got super yoked, that would be fucking dope. That's what I'm going to look like someday, guys. That's going to be me, okay? That's me in the future. Just keep that in mind. Damn. Hopefully this is the turnaround arc we need, I think. That would be nice. His stream's going to be called 3 Steps Ahead. Yeah, imagine every stream was pre-recorded. He was faking chat the entire time. That would be nice to see. Tom, I think it's kind of arbitrary to tell people they have to improve. They can be shitty and content, but that just means they'll have a less fulfilled life in some aspect. I mean, you can say it's arbitrary. Am I supposed to tell them to not improve? Improve your life, become a better person. Why not? I'm not saying that I'm going to, like, change the world by saying that, but, you know, just try not to be a loser to the best of your ability. I'm trying my best. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I fail. Bald Asmon's head will be way bigger. Would it? I don't know. He doesn't look like he has a particularly big head. I feel like it wouldn't be that big.